Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
What? There's a crowd? Amazing how they make it sound like it's a lot of people, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining us. We are broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair right here, all the way in McHenry County near Woodstock. We're technically in Woodstock, Illinois. Joining me is Ken Bauman, who's on the board. He's the director for the McHenry County Fair. Is that the?
Yes.
The guy in charge of
Yes.
all of this. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. This is a lot of work. There's a lot of coordinating. There's a lot of personalities.
A lot of volunteers also.
Oh, well, tell us a little bit about the volunteers and the work that they do here.
To run the fair on a daily basis is probably about 125 volunteers here.
And about when do you start organizing your volunteers? When do they start gearing up for this?
2 months ago.
2 months?
Yeah.
So you're walking people, so how many newbies would you say you got this year for people who wanted to come out and be a part of this?
We have like sign-ups online and things like that where they can volunteer to pick up trash or take tickets or whatever they want to do. So it's a big coordination, but some are happy, some aren't. But
Well, I will say, whatever they feel like when they're signing up and doing the work, everyone I've come across has been absolutely wonderful. Everyone's in really good spirits. Maybe it's partly the weather. It's also the people that come out for this. So tell us, how did you get involved with the McHenry County Fair? What drew you to this kind of work, my friend? This is a lot.
grew up in McHenry County, and as a kid I showed here as a 4-H member, FFA member, and my kids came back into it and figured it was time to give back. So.
And when you were in high school, though, tell us a little bit about those fairs when you were in high school. Because I remember, I'm looking across here, and when I used to go to county fairs, that zipper, the one that you can make it rock back and forth and go faster than it's actually going around, that was one of my favorite rides.
Okay.
What are your memories? I mean, being in the 4-H, you would have had a different experience than just the rides. You're coming out here with the sense of your future.
Yeah, my memories of showing livestock, mainly dairy cattle, was just the friendships you make. It was the one time of the year you got to visit with friends that you only, because we didn't have cell phones and everything. And so it was a point of meeting the friends you had from different towns, different areas. It was like the family reunion of 4-H. So.
Oh, fun. That's been...
And we always look at it as the fair is like the Super Bowl of your summer project. So.
Yeah. What was did you have a particular summer that you were particularly proud of? One of your showings?
They were all good.
They were all good.
Anytime you're getting first place or supreme champion, you're doing real well.
And how many times did we do that, my friend?
Probably a dozen.
I don't know. I lost count. So I figure, you know what? I'll hand it over to other people to give them the opportunity. I mean, really, to give them the opportunity to shine too. That sounds like what you wanted to do.
And honestly, the fair was struggling a little bit when my kids were starting 4-H, and they were contemplating moving out of Woodstock. There was a lot of talk about that, and we talked to a lot of parents, a lot of people, and they're like, no, the heart of the fair is still here. So we tried to, through the board, we've tried to build it back to what it was back then, and I think we're starting to succeed.
Are you starting to see that a little bit?
Yes.
Even the tractor parade was so much fun, seeing everybody so excited to be driving around. The veterans, some of the pageant winners who came through seemed really excited about that as well. What surprises you this year, in contrast to maybe other years? Maybe that sense of wanting to be a part of something bigger. Can I feel that today?
I think one thing that I've noticed this year is we opened on Tuesday afternoon. But it felt like it was half over already because as all the volunteers they were coming earlier and earlier, and we were set up ready to go and ready to move, and it felt like the fair was already half over. But
I'm going to go ahead and take a shot and say that's a sign of good leadership.
Yes, it is. It's a good feeling. It's a lot of the 4-H. It's a lot of the parents, the farm, working with Farm Bureau and the other organizations, wanting to get ready and make it the best we can possibly do.
Well, it is amazing. I mean, this really does have that sense of our childhood. I was born in 1971, just so you know. Mm-hmm. So I've been coming to county fairs for over 50 years, and this is one of the best I've been to in a long time.
Good, thank you.
So really beautiful. When I came, I got the chills when I came down that main way, right? The midway. Yeah.
Glad you felt that way.
I absolutely did. And then Chris, I don't have your last name, but Chris, tell us a little bit. Chris, what's your last name?
McKee.
Chris McKee.
Yep.
Chris McKee with the McHenry County Farmers, you're the president.
Farm Bureau, yeah.
Farm Bureau. Mm-hmm. So tell us, you also grew up in the area, my friend?
Yep. Born and raised in McHenry County.
So were you also showing with the 4-H club? Tell us about some of your summers. And
made some of probably the best friends we've ever had.
Are you still friends with all of
Still
them?
to this day, there's most of people I'm friends with probably were made at the fair.
Yeah. And are they still coming back and being a part of it? Like,
A lot of them are.
yeah.
Yep, a lot of them have.
What does it take to, like, you know, when we talk a little bit about how much things have changed. I mean, our friend Ken just mentioned that we didn't have cell phones, so there was much more, you know, interaction. There was a sense of urgency to, like, be out and connect with each other. What are some of the ways you found that have been successful to get people engaged now? Social media.
Talking to them. Yeah,
Talking to
social
them.
media has been a big one.
Yeah.
Especially in our group, and I think probably the fair too.
It's a little bit of a learning curve, isn't it?
Yep.
I'll bet you guys can be. But here's the thing: people love authenticity, and having people connect at an event like this is I think, reinstills that sense of community, doesn't it?
Right. And I think talking to someone face to face beats everything else. So talking to people at the fair, looking at the animals and stuff like that, we make a lot of headway.
How long have you been president of the McHenry County Farmers Bureau?
3 years. Finished
3
up my
years.
3rd year.
Did you think this is where, when you were in high school in these summers doing the 4-H club, was this, you're like, someday I'm going to be president of the Farms Bureau?
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't want this job. I didn't want to have a radio clipped to my shirt.
But when I finished 4-H, I served 10 years on the fair board.
Okay.
So from 2000 to 2010, I was on the fair board, and then after 10 years, I said that's enough, and moved on, let other people come in.
And what are some of the things that you have found, like, this year? Because Ken was talking about, like, this feels like when it's starting to come up. What would you say are some of the things that make it feel it? Is it the attendance? Is it the energy you're feeling from volunteers and fairgoers?
I think it's more the exhibitors.
The exhibitors,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that they've all had we've had beautiful weather. Everybody's worked really hard on their projects. I mean, it's really neat to watch the exhibitors shine.
I mean, I know you don't want to pick your favorites, and I'll ask all of you this, but what's right now is one of your favorites? Like, when you walk through, you're like, you know what, that turned out really spectacular. Like one thing that's kind of, you're impressed by. Or is it all, I know you don't want to say all of it, but is there one thing that jumps out at you?
I would say all of it.
All of it? Chet?
When I was on the fair board is when a lot of the problems started, and we worked really hard to overcome those, and so it means a lot to see the whole thing where it's at today.
Well, that shows a lot of work on your part. Well, so is it that the fact it's coming together is the part that you're excited about the most? Ken?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see the crowd, to see everybody having fun.
Yeah.
You know, to see the smiles on their face. You know, one thing that, you know, you do this long enough, you get to know the youth. So, like, you can join 4-H at 8 years old, and just like Chris's kids, you know, even my own kids, when they would first go out to show, you know, they're ready to throw up in a paper bag. They're so nervous, you know. And by the time they're 14, 15 years old, you know, they're winning and they're gaining. Then they do showmanship and learn from that, and, you know, just keep climbing that ladder as they age. And to me, that's a fulfilling experience to see. But again, running the fair, you know, being all volunteer based, you know, I get no compensation, but I guess I get free tickets, you know. But
Do it.
the big thing is the friends you make, the people you meet. You know, I would have never met you otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, and you put it all together, and, you know, somebody told me once, it's not how rich you are or anything. It's what you do between birth and death that matters.
Yeah,
So,
there's a little bit of it's a wonderful life
Right.
sentiment to it.
Yes.
Absolutely, it's the friends that you have. And Tim, who's also an officer with the 4-H club. Hey, Tim, back there in the back row. How are you doing, my friend? Good to meet you. He's a little bit low. Do we have him all the way? I want to make sure I can hear you. Do we have Tim all the way up? Here comes Logan. Tim, did you also participate in the summer 4-H club when you were a kid?
Yeah, I started when I was 8. Chris and I actually became friends through showing pigs. He's a couple years younger than me.
A couple years younger.
But our club, the Huntley Harvesters, is 100 years old this year. We're the oldest club in the county.
What?
Second or third in the state.
Tell us that again. What's 100 years old this
Our
year?
4-H club.
The 4-H club is 100 years old.
Yep.
And the oldest in the area?
It's the oldest in the county, Huntley Harvesters.
Well, congratulations and happy 100th.
So thank you.
So tell us a little bit about when you were a kid and you were coming here. Now, did you win a dozen times like Mr. Ken over here?
Maybe not a dozen, but probably half a dozen. There was a half a dozen champions and a couple showmanship championships.
All right, so we're talking about champion because I'm a city girl. There's no 4-H club where I came from. I mean, I learned about it when I was at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And I had friends that were in 4-H, like guys that wanted to be like big animal veterinarians and things like that because of the experience they had. It's a lot of that too. It's like going to people don't understand how much of a connection it is to your community, but also to your future. Tell us a little about that work.
It is, and that's the coolest part of the 4-H is everybody thinks it's cows and cooking was the status quo, you know, stereotype forever.
Yeah.
But what's changed and evolved over the years is there's literally a project for any kid's interest. There's leadership, citizenship, electricity, you can do crops, woodworking, public speaking, you name it. And it's just a great program. There's a lot of life lessons learned, and it's not always about the ribbons at the fair and the champions. It's the responsibility with the animals and the livestock, even the general projects. You know, you've got timelines and deadlines to meet. That's part of real life. So it's been a great program.
And so for your experience, like compared, like we were talking a little bit about how much this year feels like there's a lot more energy here. But what are your thoughts on like how that compares to like the last few years and the work that Ken and you guys have all done?
I would definitely agree. I mean, it's been there's been a lot of work probably in the last, what do you say, Ken, decade or so that's come in.
And COVID didn't help.
Changed everything.
People couldn't go out for a while.
You know, the grandstands got put back up. A lot of the improvements around the fairgrounds, a lot of paving that got done, a lot of volunteer hours. They got done by a lot of us way outside of the fair time itself, and it's just what makes it happen and what makes it work. So,
what's the most fun thing for you? Like getting the, I mean, is it seeing everybody out here? Is it the last day? Is it when you're like, all right, the last stake has been pulled up? Is it everything before that?
The last day is a sign of relief, but you know, sometimes you wish it would go longer, especially when you're having a very successful year and the weather's good. But the biggest thing, like I said, is just seeing the crowd, seeing the people being happy. And I've always been a big proponent, you know, whether we did a concert or the rodeo or anything, I sometimes will try to talk and interact with people as they leave and ask if they have any ideas. You know, if somebody's upset, you can't improve yourself unless you figure out what the problem is. So that's always kind of been a goal, and it's, you know, all of us here, we've been very open with each other, and we'll give it to each other if something's going wrong. So, but you got to be adult enough to understand that, you know, everything you do isn't perfect. You have to fix it.
Yes. Well, that's what I say. Does this happen? Like, so I don't know how it works when the 4-H members are, you know, coming out and bringing livestock out or whatever their presentation is. One of the things that's hard for a young person to understand is that, like, nobody knows what you're meant to do or what, because we all have that, like, sort of like that anxiety built up. What are some of the, like, things that you're seeing the kids enjoy this year, Chris? What are some of the things that you're seeing them enjoy the most?
I think just everything, really.
Everything? Yeah.
I think, like I said, the weather's been great. Animals have been happy. Watching a lot of kids mature and getting to the next level.
Right.
And it's been a really neat year. So,
and we mentioned that as young as 8 years old, right, Tim? So some of the kids are. So do we have like 8-year-olds? Like, what are some of the things that they're bringing out?
So my son, well, he's so it depends when your birthday is when you can join 4-H, because I think it's September 1st. So he's actually 9. So he'll get an extra year at the end, but it's his first year showing for 4-H. He's been showing open for 2 or 3 years, and then I've got a 16-year-old daughter. But it goes back to, like Chris said, the friendships, and it's generational.
Right.
Where now it's, like I said, him and I have been friends. Our kids get to know each other, and we might only see each other 4 or 5 days a year, a couple times in between, but you pick right up where you leave off. So.
Oh, that's great. It's almost like a bit of camp for everybody. Yeah, you're all getting together.
So I think that's when you ask what's the kid's best part of the fair.
Yeah.
Just going back to when I was a kid, it was always knowing that you were going to see your group of friends, that, you know, it's that anticipation all year long where you had good times, bad times. You know, him and I always didn't agree, but it's always been fun. So.
Yep.
So who's still riding the rides? Anybody still riding? Because I'm looking at that Ferris wheel. It's probably the only thing I can still ride. No one's going on the rides. No, nobody goes. Did you ever, when you were kids, go on any of the rides, or you were all business the whole time?
No, we just all grew up.
What was your favorite ride when you were young? Because, like I said, that's
the zipper.
The zipper.
Yep.
I like the Ferris wheel.
Our kids love the rides now.
Yeah.
They love the rides now. Do they have any favorites? That spinny one is too much, where you're like caged in, like standing up.
Whatever we'll pay for them to go on is a
they'll
favorite.
go on all that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having my corn dog. Who's had food on a stick so far?
You go to the Farm Bureau.
The Farm Bureau? What are we serving at the Farm Bureau? Oh, you got your own tent? You got your own food?
Pork burgers, well known for the pork burgers.
All right.
That seems to be a crowd.
This guy's got some good pork tacos right here. I'm telling you, right?
Oh.
What do we have right next to us? What's the name of it? It's Belly's. Yep. Belly's is really good. So, well, we're gonna take a break here, and we're also gonna meet some of the members of 4-H. Are we? We're gonna meet Key. Oh, we're Tim. We got Tim, Chris, and we're gonna meet Lily. I don't know what you're showing me. Back over there. We're going to meet, I think we're going to meet Lily. So we've been talking to Tim Hofth, Chris McKee, and Ken Bauman. And thank you guys so much. We're going to take a break here and come back in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle. More after this, everywhere, tuning in digitally too. Thank you.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
We are broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair here in, of course, McHenry County. This is considered Woodstock, Illinois. This is where we are. We got our friends gathering. We got some great folks, great food, and more than anything else, we've got great people who are joining us. And by the way, tonight, is it tonight with the Next Level Bull Riding, Ken? We can turn his mic back on if we've got the control over there. We've got the Next Level Bull Riding rodeo. Mine's off now. It's the next level. Bull riding rodeo and Alex Miller after party tomorrow. There's a tractor and truck pulls and feuding hillbillies after party. We've got the Demolition Derby by 4WD Promotions, plus tons of free events every single day. Livestock shows, carnival rides, of course. I'm looking at the zipper, still wondering if I can manage that without losing my cheddar nuggets. And we've got, of course, lots of exhibits. There's tons of vendors selling great products. There's music and so much more. We've got a little bit of an echo going, so we're going to try to resolve that before I think we're close there. So joining us, we've got Ken Bauman, the director of the McHenry County Fair, on the board for the. Are you on the board for McHenry County Fair? That's the.
Yes.
I've got words on here that I'm not quite entirely sure what they all strung together mean.
The fair board is made up of 22 representatives.
Okay.
And then I'm the president of the group. So.
And we have with us, we have Lily Behrens. Am I saying your name right?
Yep, that's correct.
Lily, welcome to the radio tent.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Do you listen to the radio at all?
I do.
Do you really?
I play it in the barn every morning when I'm doing chores. It's the animals listen to. So.
How early are you getting up in the morning?
Here or at home? Here it's been probably 4 o'clock, 5 in the mornings. Very early. Very early days. Very late nights. So.
How much prep time is there for you to get ready for the fair? Are you starting at the end of last year's fair to be ready?
It's year round. It's year round. After once fair happens, go again for the next year, and then you're back here. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. But it's a fun week. Everybody works together all year for it. It's a great time. All the kids, you're able to show off your hard work you did all year from the past year, see what you improved on, see what you've done different, so it's a good thing. So
do you think, because so far I've talked to folks, to Ken, to Kim, to Tim, to Chris, about the fact that they were at this fair when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
Do you talk to them and think, I could do this, I could be in the community and be a part of this for my life and raise my kids in this and my family?
All the parents I'm around, all of my friends' parents, everybody, they always share stories about the fair. It's a great time, sharing things how different they are now compared to how they used to be. You used to have your parents talk about all the fun stuff they did, and you're like, well, we're doing this now, it's what a difference. But it's all a good time. We're able to all come together, kind of share our experiences. It's a great time always.
You were talking about getting up early and doing your chores in the barn.
Yes.
And so that's whether there's fair or not, obviously, it sounds like. What are some of the things that, because I grew up in Chicago, and
right.
For kids like us, it's something honestly that we saw in the movies, or maybe maybe we went to college and we met somebody who grew up on a farm.
Right.
What do you want to tell people about what it's like to grow up in an area that's rural but still part of a community that's connected? Because we talk to people from Iowa and Nebraska, and those kids want to get out. And it sounds like here in Illinois, McHenry County, you found a way to cultivate a community where people want to stay here and raise their families. Tell us a little about that.
Growing up rural in this community, it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, you sometimes, you have kids that, grow up in rural areas and then go to a really public school. So there's only a few of us that may, do our chores in the morning or, help late at night or help dad, out in the field. But, these kids are they're interested in it. It's not a weird thing. It's just something tell me more about it. I get to tell them hey, I raise these animals year round. I go and show them. They're like, really? You're able to do these things with your animals? I'm like, yeah, it's a great time all year. And then, you bring in how much you have to do in the mornings, how much you have to do at night, the money you have to spend. But it's a great thing, people are really intrigued by it. And I think that's what also helps too. People are intrigued by it. They want to learn more about it. And you always have people asking questions. And that's a great thing. I'm glad I'm able to tell people about hey, this is something I'm super passionate about and I love it. So.
When you talk about showing, working with animals, and you mentioned that the animals like listening to radio. Right. What's their favorite station? It doesn't have to be ours. I'm sure it's music. But I just came from Orphans of the Storm out in Riverwoods, and they play classical music for the dogs that are in the shelter there. What's some of the radio that music that you play for the animals?
I always have it on Rockford Station. They're always listening to that channel. They love it. I keep it on 24/7 year round. That's all the animals, and they're used to it. They're used to being around. So when they come here, none of the noise bothers them. So I keep that on every morning. I'm able to listen. They're able to listen. So,
were there any tricks that you had like that, Ken? Or was there any music that your animals listen to?
No, that's a trick a lot of us use. Some of us use talk radio also just to get different voices and noise and things like that. But,
action movies. Just kidding. So how many animals are you caring for, as whether it's for 4-H, for the demonstrations in your home?
Currently, right now, so every year I have 2 steers, 2 pigs. Both of species go off to auction, and the one either we private sell or it comes home with us. But I'm raising 4 animals here. I love it. It's a great thing. Every morning, I've worked with these animals all year, so I know them. They know me. So we all have our kind of routine in the mornings. They know what to do, and they know hey, this is what I've worked for all year. This is what you know how to do. And I like that we have a bond together. It's not like, oh, I'm controlling something. It's I have a bond with this animal. This is what they're going to do. This is what I know they can do. So it's just a great thing knowing, like, hey, this is the effort I put in this year, and this is what we're going to try to do with your animals. So,
and I've been to like the state fair in Springfield, Illinois. I've been to fairs before, but I mean, and I've heard about, I've seen people bring out their animals and talk about them. I don't really. How are the kids judged in these presentations? Like, what are some of the things that lead to a Mr. 12-time blue ribbon and grand championships, Ken?
Well, it depends, which class you're in, I guess. But like 4-H, you're judged more on the effort you put into your project than I think what the animal physically looks like. But then when you get to the open and junior shows, you're judged more on how the animal's presented in a way that, did you feed it right? Did you trim its feet? Did you comb it there? Prep it the right way. But then also, for me, I grew up showing dairy cattle, so like Lily, she starts her project over every year with new animals, where I was able to keep expanding with what I had. And the more you walk the animals, and year after year, they get more relaxed, I guess you could say.
Right.
They perform better for you. But it's real similar to going to the Queen pageant. I mean, you want their hair to look nice, you want them to walk nice and present themselves.
I'm not sure if I'm crazy about that comparison. Do you have any friends that are in the pageants?
I've had a couple of friends do it.
It's kind of like when we bring the steer out.
Right.
We want you to be. We want to make sure that your hooves are clean and your hair is going.
You do.
I know.
But,
Amazing.
But the animals at the fair, I mean, they're cared for. Some of the best care is given to these animals.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be the amount of work that's being put in, right?
Yes.
So that's obviously you want to know that somebody has intention that they're caring.
Yeah.
So that is why it does start the minute the last fair ends.
That's exactly what happens. Like you worked for this all year. You bought your animal. When it's time to restart, you have this responsibility, and it's a great thing knowing like, hey, I can restart. This is what I'm going to do for next year. It's just an overall like round thing. It's a great thing to have. So, but yeah.
And do you have siblings?
I do. So actually, both my siblings were actually here 10 years ago. So 10 years ago and 8 years ago is when they aged out, and then I came along. So I always watched them because when I was going in, they were already graduated, they were already out. So I got to watch the whole process of them. How to clean, my animals, how to do the basics and whatnot. And once they aged out, it was kind of like, okay, I have to figure this out on my own now. I don't have somebody to help me.
Right.
But I'm glad my siblings taught me, the basic things. And over time, I've made new friends around here. That's the best thing about, being at the fair. You make new friends. You're always learning from people. There hasn't been a time where you're in a barn and somebody's not telling you something you don't know, or they'll tell you something new. How to do something else with your animal, how to care for it, make things a little better. So that's the best part about it. Everybody's always coming together, and that's the best thing you can have in a community. So. And
you mentioned earlier that you like when you go to public school and like you're one of the people that has these experiences. Do you have classmates that are also here today?
So actually, I live in Huntley. It's currently only me and my best friend, and that big school of Huntley. We're the only two kids that live on a farm in Huntley. So it was a little different. I've been able to show my best friends like, hey, like this is what I do, and they never grew up like that. They grew up in the suburbs, and they were able to come to the farm, see the animals, play with the animals. So it's a great thing. I love being able to share it. It's not something that's looked down upon because they see the care you give to your animal, and a 4-H'er is the best way to take care of an animal. Every livestock here that a 4-H'er raises, they have the best life, and that's what is most important to know. All the animals here, there's not been a time where they aren't being properly cared for. 4-H'ers know that this is something they have to do. This is something they have to work for, and it's not something you can just blow off. They know they have to put in the work, and that's the most important part, which means they're carrying the most potential they can.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment with me? Do you mind, Ken? Are we good? Are we good for another segment with them, or do we already have something booked? Okay, then let me do this. Do you remember your first McHenry County Fair?
I do actually remember it. That was over 13 years ago. Today's my birthday. So.
I was just going to say, did you always feel like the fair was for your birthday? They just handed me this. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Lily!
Thank you. I've been here, sir, since I was 5 years old. At 5 years old, I stepped in my first show ring. I'm 18 today, so I have one more year after this year. So it's nerve-wracking, knowing it's coming to an end. But I cannot believe how far I've come. It's a crazy thing that I was, my first show I stepped in, I started crying. I didn't know what I was doing. So
I remember that.
Oh, how funny, Lily! You are amazing. You're really dazzling. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us, and I think that you've really imparted a lot of perspective for listeners who might not otherwise have that insight insight into
Thank
what it's
you.
like to be in 4-H, to be in a rural area that's also close to an urban area. So you have access to a lot of
Thank
options,
you.
and you seem very committed to your community,
Yes, yeah.
to the work that you do, to your family, and you really are just delightful to talk to.
Oh, thank
Happy
you.
birthday,
Thank
Lily.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
this
you.
has really been one of my favorite interviews I've done in a long, long time. Thank you so much, Lily.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you for having
Of
me.
course. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. More after this. Thank you, everybody.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. No detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair in McHenry County, Illinois. Woodstock, Illinois, to be exact. We got some folks here stopping by. People are listening to us right now all over Illinois, Wisconsin, reaching as far as Seattle. We've got people online. And joining us right now is our next guest. We have Gloria Van Hofth, who's running for McHenry County Board, District 2. Pleasure to meet you, my friend.
Oh, it's good to be here.
There we go. There's your microphone. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up, my friend?
Well, I grew up in Alabama.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a long drive for a drink of water, my friend.
It is. I moved to Illinois when I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lived in Elgin for 2 years, and I came to McHenry County in 1976, and I've been here ever since.
It's a really beautiful area.
I love it here.
And what brought your family? Was it your family that moved from Alabama?
No, just me.
Just you. You're like, I'm out. Peace. I've been there, but it's
Just
beautiful,
me,
but also
yeah.
I understand that completely.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to be 18 so I could be on my own and make decisions about where I wanted to live and everything. So my sister followed me a year later, and so she was a year younger, but she graduated with me. And so when it was time for me to leave the house, my dad said to her, "You can't go. You're only 17." So she went to college for a year, and as soon as she turned 18, she came to Elgin too.
Okay. And what set you up in Elgin? What was it about Elgin and Illinois in general that kept you here?
Well, actually, I met a man.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it a lot of the times.
Yeah,
That'll do
so
it.
he was my first husband, and we lived in Elgin. So yeah, I loved Elgin and was there for 2 years, and then I moved out here, and I just don't want to live anywhere else. I love McHenry County.
Oh, that's so cool.
And
what are some of the things you want people to know about McHenry County?
Well, it's a great place for people who want to volunteer because there are all kinds of opportunities to get involved with so many different groups. Like, for instance, I was a big sister for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and that's a great group. When there's women empowering women, they're just so casa. There are all kinds of things to do to get involved. So you don't have any excuse for not finding something you want to get involved in. And of course, I knew a lot of people because I taught at McHenry County College.
Right.
And so I taught, adjunct and continuing education classes there for a number of years. And, just met a lot of people that way. And then I also did some substitute teaching in K through 12.
What's your area that you enjoy teaching the most?
I taught a lot of different classes, but I think the class, while I was substitute teaching, the class that I enjoyed, I had two classes that were like at different ends of the spectrum. One was special ed, and they were BD, and the other were advanced high school students.
So the whole the spectrum.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I have a child with severe disabilities and a accelerated gifted child. So I understand that broad, challenging on both ends, right?
But it was so satisfying, though. And when I got the call to go, for the BD class, I said, "I'm not qualified to teach." And she said, "Yes, you are. You're the most qualified because I do have a master's in clinical psychology." So I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these students, but I said, "Well, what we do in my circle for adults, we put our chairs in a circle." And I said, "I don't know if you're going to want to do that, but that's what we adults do." And they were like, "No, we want to do it. We want to do it." And so we did that, and they were mainstreaming these students for 2 classes, but the rest of them, I had them. And they were just absolutely amazing. I really wanted to go back. And then the other class were advanced students at Woodstock High School. They got to pick what they wanted to study.
Their own curriculum?
They wanted to know more about ancient religion. So I was qualified to teach that. So I did a class that way. And I had so much fun with that. And the key for doing this, and if you teach, this, is that you're not preaching, you're teaching.
Right.
So if you've done your job, at the end of the course, they don't know what your religious affiliation is.
Okay.
So I had students coming up to me asking me, "So are you Jehovah's Witness? Because I noticed you referred to Jehovah." And I said, "No." And and so people were asking, but it was an amazing class.
Well, because what an interesting, sort of element to that is that because, because it does challenge what they grew up with, the traditions that they know. To learn about ancient religions, well, that kind of sounds like this, you know, whether it's paganism or the calendar or deities and things like that. You know, they're kind of like, well, what does that mean for my religion? Is that kind of where you think they were kind of coming from? Like,
Right.
I don't know what to believe now, but it all matters. It's all humans trying to understand their existence.
Right, and they were in a space where they felt safe and
Yeah,
they could do that. So
yes.
that was the cool thing. So getting into politics, I ran for a state rep in 2002.
How'd you feel about that race?
It was an exciting race. It was
Okay.
out here, and I had two opponents. One was Rosemary Kurtz, who was a lovely person, and then the other one was Jim Young. He was the independent, and I was just remarking to someone how different, the climate was then, because we all had such respect for each other. And when we got together to do our debate, we were courteous. If we disagreed, we did it politely, and we had so much fun. So I did that, and I came in second. I did not win. And so someone said, Gloria, you have to run again. Everybody runs twice. And I was like, nope, I'm going on with my career. So I was in industrial engineering for 18 years. And then long-term care for 18 years.
Okay.
And, between that time, I had a business for 10 years as a manufacturer.
How many years you got behind you? Because that sounds like a lot of 18 and more.
I know, right?
You don't look like you did other things for 36
Yeah.
years, and maybe I'll do this, and maybe I'll. But it's such a great reminder, and I talk about this a lot. Like, people seem locked in; they feel like they're locked into whatever they start out doing. You're like, what am I doing? What's next? What's next?
That's exactly how I felt.
Yes.
Because I love challenges. So I liked going to a place that had a problem so that I could help them solve their problem. I didn't want to go anywhere where they had it all figured out. If you have it all figured out, you don't need me there,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So
I love that.
I was also really pleased to be administrator. I'm a licensed nursing home administrator.
Okay.
And I was pleased to be in that position when COVID hit in 2020, because I know that we saved lives because of the amazing.
You mean it
team.
wasn't a hoax? The whole thing, it was real? COVID actually happened?
It was actually
I'm
real.
being sarcastic.
And there was, Patti, there was this small window from October 1st to December 31st where we got to decide, and that was my decision, whether we were going to do weekly testing or the vaccine. So the executive director, who was my boss, came to me and said, "What are you going to do, Gloria?" And I said, "Well, I think you know what I'm going to do." He said, I need to hear you say it." And I said, "Well, I'm going to say you have to take the vaccine." And so, we had to honor the religious exemptions or medical exemptions. We didn't have a single medical exemption because what doctor is going to say that this vaccine will be hazardous to your health? We had one religious exemption, and this woman's supervisor came to me and said, I read about her church. They don't have anything like that. I said, listen.
We're not going to question it.
We're not going to question it. We have 145 employees. I have one person who is not going to take the vaccine. She's young. She's healthy. And when she gets COVID, she'll be okay. And she said, what do you mean if? I said, no, when?
When?
I said, because she will. And so after about a week, she did. And then so she had to go. She had 14 days off, but she was doing the weekly testing. That's how we found out about it. So because of that, we saved lives, because there were some nursing homes that said, "Okay, I'm not gonna force people to take the vaccine." And in fact, one woman said, "You can't force me to take the vaccine." I said, "You're absolutely right. I can't." I said, "But I can tell you that if you don't take it, you're not going to work here."
People don't remember that there was a veterans facility. I think it was LaSalle County, where over 100 residents died from from COVID.
And that's why
because the caregivers had a Halloween party and spread COVID, and then spread it throughout the population of the people living there.
And we know that's where the majority of the deaths are. So if you are in congregate living, prisons, dormitories, any place where because if you got infected, chances are you were going to infect 3 to 5 people. So if you're around a group of people, it's exponentially. Yeah. So we were just so happy. We were surrounded by places that had double-digit deaths. Yeah. We had 5 at Riverside Foundation, and IDPH told me that we did things at Riverside that no one else was doing. So I was really pleased. And
you mean doing things the right way?
Yeah, doing things the right way, and having a team that. I mean, they were skeptical when
Sure, it was
because
a scary time.
They were like, "Gloria, everybody's going to quit." And I was like, okay, let them quit. I would rather them quit than bring, the vaccine, the disease here. And nobody quit. Not a single person quit. They all stayed. And I think they actually felt better because now they know they're safer.
Right.
So, yeah, so then I left there at the end of 2021, and a couple of people had talked to me about running for office again. And I said, no. I have 3 hard things to do. And I'm going to do those things, and one thing was that I was working on a book. I was going to start my PhD program, and, one other thing.
Of course you were. Why wouldn't you?
And then a friend of mine called me up, and she said, Gloria, she said, I know you said you had 3 hard things to do, but there is a vacancy in District 2 where you live. The person who was representing District 2 had moved out of town to Huntley. And she said, so this is not hard. All you have to do is write, send your resume and fill out the application. And I said, okay. I said, I'll do it. I said, but listen, there's a good chance that I won't get hired for the position. So if I don't get hired, then I'm going to run for it and I'm going to win. And she said, okay, I will walk with you. And I said, okay, you got it. So that's what I did. So I ran in 2022 in the Democratic Party primary. There were 2 other gentlemen that ran also. So I got 54% of the vote. So then the general election, there were 5 candidates. So
a Dem, a Republican, and 3 independents?
2 Dems, 2 Republicans.
In the general, how was that?
Because 2 seats were open for
I see. Okay.
for each district. We have 9 districts, so there's 2 people representing each district.
Okay.
So there were 2 Dems, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent. So I came in first with 841 more votes than the next vote getter. So one of the things that I said to people when I got elected was that I had been on the Merit Commission for 21 years. So the Merit Commission works with the Sheriff's Department, and we advise on hiring, firing, and disciplinary procedures for McHenry County police officers. So by statute, we had to have 2 Democrats and 3 Republicans. Well, if you walked in that room, you could not tell who was who, because that's what we were doing the job that we needed to do for the Sheriff's Department. Yeah. So that's what I promised people that I would bring to the county board.
So you are running for re-election now?
I am running for re-election now.
And how do people learn more about your campaign, my friend?
Well, they can go on my website. I have a really cool website out there, and I'm going to be knocking on doors.
Yay!
And I'm going to be doing that real soon, and I'm having fundraisers and that kind of thing. But, I know a lot of people know me, but I'm not resting on my laurels. I'm going out there and working hard, and
I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you,
yeah,
thank you. This is cute. This is my new brand.
Yes, Gloria Van Hofth, running for McHenry County Board, District 2, Integrity, Compassion, Service. You can learn more about her campaign on her website.
Yes, it's Gloria Van Hofth at .com. Yeah.
Let's
Citizens for GloriaVanHofth.com.
There you go. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation. We come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter. You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to broadcast live from the McHenry County Fair. Got your fried cheddar nuggets out here. Got your Ferris wheel, the zipper ride, some tractor pulls. The rodeo's coming up in a little bit. The wonderful bands are coming up. We have the Alex Miller after party coming up this evening, and we've got some folks out here who are doing some great work, including Sarah Mertens. Mertens, is it Mertens?
Yep, Mertens.
Mertens. She's running for State Senate District 35, and she's an educator. She also does support work at her children's school on top of the work that she does full time. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I'm
trained
certified to teach K-12 in German. And I've been working on getting my ESL endorsement and teaching ESL in schools. I did that online for several years after my oldest was born. But in the meantime, I've been getting to know the school district by working as support staff part-time at the schools.
There's a lot of information coming at me. Tell folks who don't know, like, support work can mean a lot of different responsibilities in a school. Tell us about that work.
So professionally, I am there during lunch and recess, making sure the kids are safe. I also, I volunteer a lot. And the thing that I like the most about my role in the schools right now is I don't have instructional minutes that I need to live by. If I see that a student is having a rough day and they just need someone to talk to, I can take that time to validate that student and get to know them, find out what's going on, and trying to help.
Right.
And some days it's just that there are students that are really chatty, and that's great. Some days it's has someone sick at home, or they've got some real big life issues that they're dealing with, and they just need someone to talk to. And their teacher in the classroom, they have 20 to 25 kids that they are focusing on. They don't have that time there.
Right.
But out where I am, I am given the luxury that I have that time to give to a student.
To connect with them, because it's your point. Everybody has different sensibilities, different energy, and I think we're getting better about that in a curriculum scenario to give people that space. So tell us a little bit. Did you grow up in McHenry County?
Not in McHenry County. I grew up in Will County, so I'm originally from Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Okay.
I lived there for 18 years, and then I moved to Champaign-Urbana. That's where I got my degree.
Same.
Oh, cool.
ILL, sorry.
INI.
There it is.
So I lived there a few years after I graduated. I stayed near campus. I worked in health insurance, actually, for a few years. Because,
okay, was the campus that great that you wanted to stay? Because I really kind of regret that I left. Because was it a boy?
No,
Okay.
actually, martial arts. That's what kept me in Champaign.
Hello. All right, now we're talking. What kind of martial arts are we talking about here?
So I do kuksul.
Okay.
So Sado kuksul is the specific flavor that I do, and I stayed on campus because that's where I was able to find work. K-12 in German sounds great, but finding a full-time German teaching job was harder than it sounded. Well, that it sounded to me at the time.
I was going to say,
so yeah,
as a history major, I understand from finding hard. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and graduating from U of I had student loans, so I couldn't afford to take a part-time job.
Okay.
So I got full-time work with a health insurance company during the rollout of ACA, which has been so much more relevant than I ever imagined at the time it was going to be. But during that time, I kept training at the martial arts school that I had joined, and I actually ended up running it for 2 years while I was there. But I'm a 4th degree black belt, and I still
Yeah,
train.
you are. I get that sense. I felt like there was something no nonsense about you. But I mean, and to that, I mean, like when you practice martial arts, there is mindfulness that comes with that training, and everything being intentional, every movement, every breath, every tactic. And tell us about how that's lending itself to the work that you do in running for office, because you're kind of seeing all the angles, aren't you?
So first, I want to say that the most dangerous person in a martial arts classroom is the white belt, because they're learning things, but they don't know, they don't have that mindfulness, they don't have that control, and that's the person you've got to watch out for.
Can I say orange belts are also a pain in my butt? I dropped out at orange. They started punching me in the face, and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. It was mixed martial arts, and I was like, man, I don't have headgear on. We're not doing this. But at any rate, yes, people who aren't as trained, and as being mindful of what they're doing. That's a really good point that you're making. Yeah.
But just.
I feel like we have a white belt in the White House, is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Are you sure that's not orange? But no, it's great because I'm used to working with people regardless of their backgrounds. Like in education, you get that. It does not matter to me what they do outside of the classroom. Like here, we're at school in the martial arts dojo. We are a family. We practice mindfulness. We practice caring about each other, being respectful. Consent is huge in the martial arts dojo. We do not do techniques or touch each other for techniques without bowing to each other first, for instance. Like consent is king there.
Right. And when we talk about consent, it means that understanding what's going to happen next, right?
Yes.
Being engaged, involved, and aware of everything.
Yeah, and I also do women's self-defense seminars, but one of the things that I tell my students or anyone that I'm training with for these defense seminars is, here's what the plan is. If there's something that you can't do because you're not comfortable with it, or because you have a physical limitation, let me know. I can't know if you don't tell me, but if I know, we can work around that. Because I have trained with kids as young as 3 and people as experienced as 80, and there is a way to train with everybody safely. So.
What inspired you to run for state senate?
So So I spent most of my life in Illinois. I've lived in Illinois a total of 32 years, but 6 years I spent living in Austin, Texas, and that's where both of my children were born. I moved there with my husband, and life was great in Texas. We loved Austin. It's beautiful. But we did start seeing a few of the cracks that living in Texas had versus living in Illinois. That's where, again, I had both of my children. And I started seeing issues with different rights that we lack in Texas that I took for granted in Illinois growing up. Workers' rights are not as protected. We don't have the collective bargaining rights in Texas as we do in Illinois. And being a pregnant woman in Texas, you have to advocate for every step of your care, even with a care team that does care about you as a person, not just as someone who is pregnant. And that was something that I never thought would be the case. So during COVID in 2021, actually, we made the decision to move back to Illinois because we wanted our kids to grow up with the same rights that we grew up with.
Sure.
And come to find out, my local legislators here in Illinois, they vote against those rights.
Wow.
And the person who I'm challenging, actually, he was first elected when I was 3 years old, and he hasn't been challenged most of the years he's been in office. The last time he was challenged was in 2010, 16 years ago. And he votes against any progress in women's reproductive rights. He votes against progress in healthcare for people who are pregnant or people who are delivering or who are postpartum, which you would think that voting for bills to come into law that are going to help support families, you would think that somebody who has those focuses as he does,
right?
Those would be things he'd want to support, and he doesn't even do that. So I didn't want to stand by the sidelines anymore for that to happen, and the only way that I can stop that from happening is by stepping up.
Excellent.
So here I am.
So for folks who live in McHenry County or know someone who live in the area that you might represent, the District 35 for the state Senate, give them your 30-second pitch as to why you are the right person to hold this office.
All right, so I am completely invested in the community. I've spent my life in service to the community, and I want to see Illinois be a strong community. And in order to do that, we need everybody has the tools that they need to succeed. We need to have free and accessible public education. We need everybody to have access to health care. We don't need people going to emergency services as their first stop for health care. We need housing so that everybody can have a safe place to live, and we need careers. So many people and so many industries have such a focus on university education, and that's great, but not everybody needs that. Not everybody wants to have a university education, and we need to have career paths that are going to set them up for success and let them take care of themselves without extra help, without a university education. I want to see stronger unions and stronger trades.
Excellent. We're talking to Sarah Mertens, State Senate 35. She's running for the District 35 in McHenry County, fighting for equal opportunity, access to affordable health care, public education, careers, and housing. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you for stopping by at the McHenry County Fair in McHenry County. This is Patti Vasquez broadcasting live at WCPT and KKNW. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us at the McHenry County Fair. WCPT is live here today, and we're so thrilled to see folks out enjoying themselves, eating some food on a stick, fried food all around. I've had my cheddar nuggets, I've had my pork bellies from Belly's inspired sandwiches and shareables. So fantastic. We also want to thank all of our friends here at the McHenry County Fair for being so wonderful and inviting us, including Ken Bauman, the board of directors, the president of the McHenry County Fair, and it was so great to talk to our friends from the 4-H, wonderful, the Farm Bureau, and we talked to Lily Behrens, who had a great story about what it's like to be a kid growing up in McHenry County, and she was here presenting, and she's got one more year left. So much fun. And we have been stopping by with some of our friends running for office, including Sarah Mertens, who's running for State Senate, District 35, and Gloria Van Hofth, who's running for McHenry County Board, District 2. And now we are joined by our friends. We have Ruth Scifo, Chair of the McHenry County Dems, and Mary Mahady, President of the McHenry County Dems.
Democratic Women.
Democratic Women. I didn't finish my intro for you. Yeah, I apologize. So Ruth and Mary are joining us in the WCPT tent. I want to thank everybody. First of all, I haven't had a chance to thank our entire incredible crew. Logan, who set us up, Paul Shabari, who helped set us up, Matt Cummings, we got Steve Lessman, Jerry Walski, and of course all of our Dems here who are organizing and manning the tents as well. So Ruth, how many of the McHenry County fairs have you? How many fairs have you been to manning the Democratic tent?
Well, I've been involved in for the last 3 years now as chair, and then prior to that I was vice chair, so I was at every one before that for about 8 years. I'm not keeping count, but I've been to quite a number of them now, and very happy to be here. And by the way, I'm so happy that you're here, Patti, and WCPT.
Of course.
We think our county is one of the most beautiful counties in Illinois, and it'll look better when it's blue. But
yes, love it. Better when it's blue. It is a lush green right now. I have to say, those rolling hills of McHenry County are gorgeous.
Yes, and
Really beautiful.
Well, when you grow up in Illinois, you learn to love cornfields. You learn to love the flatland, and that's what I love. I love Illinois, and I love McHenry County.
Well, it's a little hillier in this neck of the woods, literally.
Yes, it is.
It's a little more hilly. So did you grow up in McHenry County?
Not at all. I grew up in the city of Chicago.
Okay.
I didn't move out here until 1995.
Okay.
And why did we move here? I forgot to check what the temperature or the political temperature was like before we moved out here.
When you got here, were you like, what have we done?
Oh, very much so. Well, first of all, when I moved out here in 95, I had two small children. My son was a kindergartner. My older daughter was in 3rd grade. And when we got here, turned out that there was no room in the kindergarten that he was supposed to go to because it was all full up. And they had 45 or 46 kids in the classroom because
Oh my God.
Yeah, really crazy. So the plan was to, now my kids had gone to school in Chicago, right? They were used to walking to their school.
Sure.
When they got out here, they had to get on a school bus. So now they're getting on a school bus, going to the school they're supposed to go to, staying on that bus, and going to another school where there was a more reasonable, if you want to call 30 kids in a kindergarten classroom, reasonable.
Wow.
It was a little scary, and actually that's how I got involved in politics, because I got right onto a referendum committee so that we could pass a referendum to build another school, and not only just build the school, but fund the operating expenses, which means the teacher salaries and everything else that goes into a school. And they had trouble passing these referendums, mainly because it was seen that the new schools were all being built for the new people moving in, and no work had been done in the old schools. The Coventry school where my kids were going to go, their carpeting had been in place since 1965, and never, can you imagine how much had been all over that carpeting in there?
Kidding.
So so there was really a need to do work in every single one of the schools in the school district, and that's what we did in the referendum. We not only built one new school, we made improvements to all the other schools as well. And
Amazing.
That's how we got that referendum passed.
And you've been in the Democratic Party, the McHenry County Dems, ever since?
Ever since. That's where I do have a degree in political science. I've always been interested in it, but I never done any work in it till I moved out here.
Where'd you study?
Loyola University.
All right. We love our Loyola University grads.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely. Another Loyola grad.
Yes.
Look, Mary Mahady also. She's the president of the McHenry County Dems.
Democratic Women.
McHenry County. And I have to ask, did you also move out here from Chicago, or have you always been in McHenry? Oh, you moved?
Well, I grew up in Buffalo, New York. Went to school at Loyola and then moved out.
Oh my goodness! Came to Chicago for Loyola.
Yeah.
All right. So So let me ask you. I'll ask you first, Mary. What drew you out to McHenry County?
My husband's job brought us out here.
Yeah, I have to follow that guy.
Yeah.
Hey, if I have to.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful area.
I love it. It's my home. I mean, it's great. My kids, were born here, raised here. Love it. And the people are great. We have great candidates. We have great events. It's just I'm blessed to be out here.
And so how long have you been working with the Democratic Women of McHenry County?
Well, we started the organization about 5 years ago.
Oh, really? So this is a baby.
Yes, we're a baby, but we're strong and powerful.
Yeah, you are. I went to one of your sold out events. That was fun.
Proud to say that this year we were able to support 14 candidates with $36,000 that we got to distribute. So
that's really impactful.
Because we're a PAC. The Democratic Party does not give funds to candidates, so we took that on, and we're supporting Democratic women candidates, and we have some great candidates.
Well, we were talking about that. You were saying that in addition to getting in, well, let's talk a little bit about the work that you have done. How was voter turnout for 2025, Ruth?
Well, voter turnout in an off-year election is never that great, right? But we had some really great things happen in 2025, so I'm starting with the positive. We elected a mayor in Hebron, Steve Morris. Hebron is not exactly your hair-on-fire liberal area, so we were really excited about that. We took over the majority of the Grafton Township Board. We added a Dem to the Marengo Township Board. We voted in members of the Crystal Lake City Council, an Oakwood Hills trustee, lots of school board members, library board members, park board members. So in the nonpartisan elections, we had over 130 of our recommended candidates, with 53 of them getting the most votes in a multi-seat race. So that tells you that when you don't put a D behind your name, we can really do something. But I think in 2026, we're going to do a lot even with that D, especially because of the D behind our name.
Are you sensing that, Mary, that that folks are looking for, like, just voting for something? Like, are we starting to shed a little bit of that? I'm not voting for Democrats. They're not Christian. They're, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, I think out here, and I think that's part of the reason that the Democratic women have been successful, that we are finding people are looking for other Democrats out here and getting involved, women that are stepping up. So I've been a candidate myself. I've knocked on doors, and in the last couple of years, it's been, people are going, yeah, we need a change. So.
And it's a little different knocking on doors out here. I mean, you might have your pockets of condominiums and sort of I saw gated communities. Like, that's a challenge for door knocking, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It totally is. And even the apartment buildings are difficult. But what our strategy is to find even one resident, and then that person is you're in, and that's how we get into those places.
You almost need, like, it would be helpful if we had, like, people from different apartment complexes coming to meetings and then, like, being the tour guide of the complex.
Yeah. Almost a personal precinct committee person for that building is really the way we look at it. So we are trying to find those. If you're out there, live in an apartment building in McHenry County, come see us. We need you.
Yeah, because when you go, I mean, you don't want to invade someone's, like, the boundaries, but you also don't want to not, like, it really is reaching out to someone and say, hey, your voice can be heard. I'm not trying to, we're not selling you anything. We're just letting you know who we are, what we stand for. That's really what door knocking is about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Door knocking is the number one way that we get voters. And it's been that way the whole time I've been with the Democratic Party, and that's how it's always going to be, the face-to-face talking about values. That's how we, I don't even want to say convince, that's how we show that we are the party that they should be voting for.
Yeah, I agree completely. And then people, when I ran for office, I remember this kid in Jefferson Park. He opened the door. He was so confused that I was just going door to door, and he thought he was like on candid camera. He came out and he was like, "Am I being? Is this a practical joke?" He's like, "Are you going to every door?" And I'm like, "No, but you have a list." Yeah. And I agree. I think, and so with McHenry County, because it is a little bit more spread out, what are some of the ways you overcome those barriers to connecting with voters door to door?
Well, we have some very committed precinct committee people who get in their car and drive around, so I thank you for that. However, we have to do mailings, and mailings are, as you know, expensive.
Sure.
But that's the other way, phone calls. Phone calls. We're trying to modernize and do some digital stuff and texting, but people are so inundated with all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, text stop.
Yeah, exactly. And we're in competition with the state party, with the national party, and and every day I get a very kind note from John Ossoff looking for my support.
Bless his heart, but we got work to do here in Illinois.
Exactly.
John, we'll show up when you need us later.
Yes.
Wink, wink. But at any rate, so tell folks a little bit, Mary, about like some of the events you have coming up that you want to get them involved, whether it's door knocking, phone banking, coming to the office and making coffee or fundraisers.
So we don't have an office separately, but what we're telling our members is pick a candidate, go get involved with their campaign, whatever they need, knocking on doors, serving coffee, keeping their office open. But we're all just out there helping our candidates get elected right now. We don't have an event coming up until March of next year.
Okay.
Our annual fundraiser. So.
Do the Power of the Purse?
No, the Power of the Purse we do every other year when we don't have a November election.
Right, that makes sense.
So put that on your calendar.
For next year.
I'd have you for everyone. So that was so great. No, I'm honest. Trailblazers and fundraisers, we do that in March to really, that's our big fundraiser. And the off years when we don't have a November election, we do another one, then the Power of the Purse.
And how about like having coffee meet and greets? That seems to be huge. We love those.
Right. We've been encouraging our members to have one for our candidates because when they invite their neighbors, that's that many doors you don't have to knock on.
Right.
And plus, having that personal connection with someone you trust, a friend, bringing you into their home and introducing you to someone is a real great way to make people feel comfortable about politics or about, meeting a candidate and not feeling, put on the spot or anything like that. We also do postcarding. We didn't even mention that. Postcarding is huge out here, and that's a way to get our volunteers involved doing something. If you can't knock, that's a great way to, send a personal note to a voter and get them out to the polls and get them to know who to vote for.
And what are your, so tell me, let folks know about just voting blue no matter who. I mean, because we can get into these debates about litmus tests and all that. What do you want to say about that? Who wants to talk first?
I'm happy because I brought all my statistics about it, so as long as I did, I'm just going to go through them. Because I look back at the 2024 election where Kamala Harris, lost in McHenry County. It's not a super huge surprise. In a presidential year, that's a high turnout year. It's not going to be like that this year. But the problem we saw even that year was this drop off. So in 2024, the Republicans actually voted. There were more votes for the Republican County Board Chair than for Trump. But on the flip side, on the Kamala Harris side, there were more votes for Kamala than our candidate for County Board Chair. And so what we need to do is get Democrats or independents, people who are tired of how things are running, to not just look at the top of the ticket, but vote all the way down. So if you're planning on voting for J.B. Pritzker, which I certainly hope you do, keep on going.
Yes.
Keep on going all the way down because they're all great and they all are running because they care about life in McHenry County, about improving life here, about affordability. We have a housing crisis here, like in so many other places. And these people are really people who are not looking to move on to the next thing, but really want to make life better for our residents.
And Mary, got any thoughts before we go?
Just get out and vote and make sure that you got to know any Democrat's better than the Republican you could vote for.
There you go. Mary Mahady, president of the McHenry County Democratic Women, and Ruth Schivo, chair of the Democratic Party of McHenry County Chair. Let's take a break here and continue on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and everyone listening digitally. Thank you, everybody. Right back after this.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home, but we're not driving home. We're at the McHenry County Fair. So excited to be here. We are just in sight of like the Tilt-A-Whirl, the Ferris wheel, the zip ride. I know there's a rodeo tonight. There's music. We've got, of course, a lot of great vendors. And joining us right now is candidate for McHenry County Board District 1, Dee Darling, who you've heard on my show before. She's with the National Organization of Women in McHenry County as well. And Dee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me so much, and thank you to the fairgrounds for having us out here just to be able to reach the community. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have you been in Hofth and have you been to the McHenry County Fair?
Pretty much every year.
Every year?
Yeah.
Did you grow up in McHenry?
I did not. I grew up in Cook County. I grew up on 21st Place in Damon in the Pilsen neighborhood.
Okay.
Then moved out to Hoffman Estates, and then the real adjustment to McHenry County.
Sure.
Yeah,
what was that like? Like quiet. Like that had to be the first weird thing was how quiet it is.
It was. I was like, am I still in Illinois?
Right?
Yeah.
Am I still on planet Earth with how quiet it is?
Right, right.
And the sky, too, because there's not as much light pollution. People don't realize when you get out of the city, you can see the stars at night.
And we got to see, like, the lights and stuff, with our cameras. Of course, you couldn't see it to the naked eye, but we could see it in McHenry County.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here.
Yeah.
So how long have you lived in McHenry County?
I've lived in McHenry County since 2003.
Okay, so it's quite a bit out here.
Yeah, 23 years living out here. Love it. It's beautiful out here. We have the best parks, recreation. It's real close-knit, tight communities. I live in Cary.
Okay.
So it's very community-oriented, and that's right up my alley. I'm all about community.
What's what everyone's been telling me about opportunities to volunteer? I know our friend, one of our friends was telling us about how great it is to volunteer for folks. Gloria was telling us how great it was to be a part of different organizations. We've got educators. We've got people who are involved in the healthcare industry. Tell us a little bit about your background that you bring to this role as a McHenry County board member.
Absolutely. So I'm 7 years on the school board. 5 of those I was the school board president in Cary District 26. Learned a lot from that. And I'm the current president of McHenry County now. I was voted a Women of Distinction by my peers in 2024.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, you're just doing things in the community. So
it doesn't feel like work to you, it seems, even though it's a lot of hard work.
I surround myself by so many women that are just as deserving. So
oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. But just I have my own nonprofit, Together We Stand McHenry County. I'm hosting an event next weekend, Planet-Palooza on Woodstock Square. It's gathering all the nonprofits in the county, the services they provide, letting people know in the county what's available to them. So that's important. People don't know the stuff is out there for them.
What drew you into this role of public service and being with your community, making sure that they're connected with the sorts of resources they can use?
So in this particular one, I will tell you, I have a disabled sister who both my parents passed away within a month of each other, and my sister lived with my parents. And just trying to find her somewhere to live was eye-opening. You can't touch rent for a one-bedroom for anything less than $1,500, no matter where you go. And I was like, something has to change. We need people in these positions that are looking and working with municipalities and talking, and we have to find housing that's available for everyone, right? So that's one of my I think we need to work hand in hand with the municipalities. I think it's real important because we could all be there one day. We could all need that, and there's
there's enough available. So I have an adult son who's 21 years old that will never live independently. So I have a son who, in the event, my husband and I often say, just in case. So what a wonderful sister you are that you committed yourself to public service, because it's a legacy to your parents and to your sister. So thank you.
It really is. And my mom, I was always raised by my mom of, you don't know what that person that is waiting on you or in a restaurant or whatever, what their life is. We're all the same, and you treat people equally, and you help that person when they need help. So I try to live by that, and I try to make her proud of me.
So what made you decide to go for county board?
County board for me is just, I want to represent the people in my district. I think we need a voice of someone that is really deeply involved in community and knows the things that are going on and can speak up and for the things that we're all seeing that are going on. I think it's real important that we have a regular person.
Yeah.
We have regular people in office that are, like your neighbor. I think that's a real important thing for us to have here in the county. And for a long time, we haven't had that. And I think I feel like I want to be that person, and I want to listen to everybody. I want to sit down. I want to hear what they have to say. And I think that communication doesn't stop when you're elected. And it has been. You keep talking, you keep telling them what's going on in the county, and people want to feel that they want to know these things. And that's when they don't show up, is when you don't talk to them.
Exactly.
So,
and the thing that people want so much is to be heard and to know that what their story is matters. Is the people who make decisions about where our taxes are spent, what programs are in our communities.
And they should know that. And when there's clinics going on, and those are the things that the people that we've elected should be telling us about. We should know that these things are coming to our town and how to get there. And if we can't get there, how are we going to get you there if you need them?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
And so when you're talking to folks, it's part education too, because a lot of times, as Ruth was telling us, people are just voting for the top of the ticket and they're kind of like, oh, I don't know what these other people are. A lot of what you're running for is also educating people about how important this position is, isn't it?
It's absolutely. People don't realize, yes, the county board can only control property-wise what's unincorporated, right? The municipalities control all the land otherwise, but we're still, zoning. We're talking about home rule potentially being talked about in our county. So these are things that people need to be aware of, and I started talking about little instructional episodes that I'm filming on my social media, telling people bit by bit what home rule is, and not so much at once where they're not understanding it. People need to hear these things in their own language, in their own term, how they grasp things. So that's another thing. Are we talking to everyone?
Yeah.
In a way that they understand us.
And what has been the most impactful way to connect with a voter or with a resident?
I think just talking,
Yeah,
just walking up and talking and asking somebody, how do you feel about, hi, I'm Dee. Like I've been on the school board for 7 years, and having that conversation, good or bad, they're going to have critiques. Yeah. And that's part of it. Like, I need to learn from that. So I'm open to it, and I think that you should be. That's how we grow.
I know that you've done a lot of work with the National Organization of Women for a while, and it's surreal to me. One of the people ask why I spent so much time in Wisconsin, and part of it is one, you're in an area that is not safely blue. You guys are chipping away and making inroads, right?
Right.
But Illinois, people consider it to be like, well, you've got Governor Pritt. Like for me, and we've talked about this before, I don't necessarily have a working relationship with the Democrats that are in office, but that's why I go to Wisconsin, because when I was a kid, I had more rights as a 9-year-old than I do today, and with what's happened with rights for women. So tell us a little bit about what the conversations you're having with young women in your community.
Am so impressed by our young generation, by our young people, because I'll tell you what, they get it. Okay. Like, we don't give them enough credit. We think that they're buried in their, in their phones and whatever. They get it. They understand it. They accept people for who they are. They want everybody to, have a home that they can afford. They want, people to have kids and raise them all together, loving each other. And I think that that's really important. We don't give young people enough credit. That bugs me when I hear older people, bashing the young generation. I think they get it. They 100% get it. Listen to them.
What do you, in 30 seconds, tell folks why you are the candidate that should represent McHenry County District 1, right?
Sure. I am the candidate for District 1 because I will listen. I will take what I'm hearing from you back with me, and it'll always be in the back of my mind when I'm talking about things at the county board level. And I think that it's important that we have regular people in these positions that are going to understand what it's like for, regular people in the county to exist here and thrive.
Well, thank you so much for running. It's Dee Darling from McHenry County Board District 1. Go to votefordarling.com to learn more about her election. And early voting starts September 24th. Election day is November 3rd. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dee.
you, Patty. Thanks for having me.
Of course, more after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKW 1150 in Seattle and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. More in a moment from McHenry County Fair.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk and Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, we are broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair in Woodstock, Illinois. We can see the Ferris wheel from here, the zipper ride that I probably would not do well on these days, but I could sit on that for hours when I was a kid. I've already had my cheddar nuggets, my Belly's sandwich, a little bit of pulled pork sandwiches. Joining me right now is our friend Dr. Bridget Belcastro. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for McHenry County Regional Superintendent of Schools. She brings 19 years of administrative experience. She was the 2024 Illinois Principal of the Year. Bridget, it's good to see you again. We just had you in studio a couple weeks ago. Good to have you back.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. No, so the work that you've done in this community, tell me a little bit, because the folks that run this fair were telling me how much more the energy this year feels like it's even more joyful at the fair.
Yes. So when I first started in administration in McHenry McHenry County, I was the principal at Alden Hebron High School and Middle School, and they have, all the kids are fair kids. They're 4-H kids, and so I would come here every year and hang out in this area over here, the livestock and the chickens and the ducks and the sheep and the pigs, and I could not walk 10, 20 feet without somebody, Doc B. I just loved to come and see the students and see their hard work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, there were kids who were putting themselves, a good way through school with the money they make as they sell their animals at these
auctions.
At the auctions. So I was just always so proud of them and their work that they did.
Well, it sounds to me as though there's also a generational legacy here that because I was reading a piece about Iowa about how much they're trying to convince young folks to stay where they if they go to school in Iowa, stay in Iowa, but they're going to other cities. And Lily, who was talking to us earlier, was saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It seems here like a lot of young folks go off and then they come back and stay here and continue to grow their families in McHenry County.
Absolutely.
Which is a testament.
And they're going, they're going for agribusiness and agriculture. And so I think that's wonderful. And we need that. I think that's part of the charm of McHenry County is there's this development happening, but there's still farms and there's still that country lifestyle here that's a little bit slower than when you head out towards the city. And I think that's what people in McHenry County want to keep.
Well, it sounds to me like you have a really broad experience with the children who come from different backgrounds. So tell us a bit about your perspective and what that brings to being the superintendent of schools in McHenry County.
Right. I've worked in two different districts in the county here, 3 different school systems in the county. And I've worked as a principal at every grade level in my history. So I think that tells a lot about what my knowledge base is, what my experience is. So I know where kids are coming from and where they're going.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot to the educators in this county and the families in this county. So I can bring a lot of that experience to our school districts. And I think that's something that our families need to understand. And even if they don't have kids anymore or they never have had kids, we want our students, we want our young people to be well educated, because a well educated person can succeed in life. They have financially more stable jobs, and then they contribute to the local economy in a more positive way. So a well-educated, community does better for everyone. When we do better, when we all do better, we all do better. And so I think that is what I want to bring, more collaboration and more success to our schools.
What would you say in your experience have been some of the, because we've evolved a lot with our approach to education. We're learning more about sensory issues. We're learning more about attention deficit. I mean, I'm learning so much about just the way I learn, and I'm 55, which is something that I think we all should be mindful of, is that we're always still learning, which you can instill into kids as they're growing up through the preschools, the grade schools, the high schools, right?
Absolutely. I was one of those people who were diagnosed late in life with ADHD, and I was having a conversation with my therapist the other day, trying to talk through some ideas about executive functioning skills, and those are things that I talk about with my teachers and students as well, and families. And we really kind of narrowed some things down, and those are things that are evolving all the time. And when we try to force systems onto a child, that is not going to work, because we are all different.
Right.
How we work, every person is different. And I think that schools are the place where we really realize that we are all unique and we all need to honor that for every person.
And what are you hearing when you meet with people in the community about voting for superintendent, right? Because, I mean, really, I've never voted for, I live in Chicago. I've lived there my entire life, so we've never voted. Now we vote for the school board.
Mm-hmm.
We've never voted for a superintendent. That's not common for a lot of folks who might be listening right now. Well, maybe it is.
Yeah, when I'm knocking on doors, a lot of people are like, I don't even know what this is. And so I'm telling them about this role and what it does and why it's important to vote for. And so even when they say, I don't have kids in the community.
Oh my goodness.
I tell them, well, you still can vote for this, and it's important. And so let me tell you a little bit about it. And I usually tell them 5 things that the office does and why it's different than just like school board and things like that. And so we do, the office does professional development, teacher certification, health, life, and safety, bus drivers training, truancy. So those are some of the big things that they do, background checks, that kind of stuff. But I think that when the schools can work together, if this office serves the schools in a positive and collaborative way, then schools can use their funds in different ways and direct them in ways that are more helpful for them, and not have to use their money in different ways, like professional development. So if we're providing professional development free or low cost to schools, then the schools are not spending their money on those kinds of things. I mean, they still will use it for professional development, but they could save some of that money.
Right. Right. And the other thing, because a big portion of where their property taxes go, I mean, that's what we talk about in Illinois. You want to know that somebody is managing the schools in a way that is really investing in the community. When you invest in young people, that's for the whole community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, one thing that I'm really excited about this opportunity is that I really have spent my whole career working with and for kids and teachers, and this gives me an opportunity to give back in such a much bigger way, and be involved in the county, be involved in the community, but still be involved in education. And so I'm so excited about this opportunity.
Well, tell folks who are listening right now who either live in McHenry County or know someone who lives in McHenry County why you are the best person to be the next superintendent of schools in McHenry.
Well, I've been doing this for a very long time, and because I've been so involved at the state and national level, I have connections all over the state, all over the country, and I have lots of resources that I could bring to this role, and I'm very excited about this opportunity. I have talked to many superintendents, I've talked to principals, and I've talked to educators, and they are really excited about getting behind me and having me come and work in this office to support education.
Well, I'm so glad to get to know you. It was a pleasure having you in the studio, and so wonderful to be at the McHenry County Fair with you. That is Dr. Bridget Belcastro, running to be the next superintendent of schools for McHenry County. Remember, early voting starts on September 24th for early voting, and November 3rd is the election. Again, you can go to, what's your website?
BridgetBelcastro.com.
BridgetBelcastro.com, and follow her on all the social media platforms. We're going to take a break here and continue our conversation. We are broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair in Woodstock, Illinois. I got to get my corn dog suit.
Yeah,
so
you
good
do.
to see everybody. More in a moment on WCPT, KKNW, KTNF, and everywhere digitally.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter. No detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Ooh, thank you so much for joining us. Coming in hot, everybody, because I'm broadcasting live from the McHenry County Fair in Woodstock, Illinois. Look at that baby, just walking along, having a good time at the fair. We are within a spitting distance from the mac and cheese truck, and I got to go and try some of that. I'm not going to go to anything that spins too fast, but joining me right now, we are so thrilled to welcome candidate for McHenry County Board, District 6, Cheryl Lindenbaum. Cheryl, hey! How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Well, I got my chops in Chicago and Cook County.
All right. What part of Chicago, Cook County?
North Side. So I went to, well, it was Stone School at the time, but now it's Stone Academy.
Okay.
And then I went to Mather High School.
Love Mather High School. That's I think it's one of the unsung, wonderful schools of Chicago. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. There used to be a really good pizza joint over by there on Peterson. I can't remember. They had really good pizzas by the slice. I used to go in there all the time because I used to swim against Mather. I went to Lake Tech. So what brought you all the way out to McHenry County out of Cook?
Well, I was looking for a house to buy, and I was going to have my mom move in with me.
Okay.
You know, because she's getting older and couldn't do stairs and all that. So I lived in an apartment on the second floor walk-up, and I thought, you know, it's time to move. So I've got a friend that lives in McHenry, and every time Mom and I are there, it felt like I was on vacation.
Oh, okay.
And I was
does.
Like, I know. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so McHenry is it. So I found a really great house in McHenry proper. And, yeah, haven't looked back since.
And tell us a little bit about like that. What was that trend? Because I asked somebody, did you notice like how long for you to notice how much more quiet it is to live in McHenry County?
Well, that was one of the main reasons. I realized the older I was getting, the more I was like, get off my lawn. But it wasn't my lawn.
Right.
But now it is.
Oh, believe me, I'm on Milwaukee Avenue. My husband will tell you at Milwaukee and Foster, I'm like, slow down, right? People coming barreling down the side streets. I get it. And it is a different pace of life.
Right.
So tell us a bit about getting involved civically in McHenry County, coming from Chicago. What was that sort of, were you involved politically in Chicago?
I was, actually. I've worked on a lot of campaigns in Chicago. Mostly for lawyers who wanted to become judges.
Sure, okay.
And so my claim to fame is I have a few of them who've won.
Okay.
And I was also working on Jan Schakowsky's campaign for a couple of times, you know, so I've been hanging out with her. And yeah, so
you've been in the belly of the beast.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I have my degree from DePaul in political science and women's studies.
Oh, wow.
So
what were some of the most recent judicial races, like in the last decade or so, or before that? Because I had and the reason I'm asking, a friend of mine was a campaign manager for several judges, including Judge Jill Rose Quinn, who was the first trans judge in the state of Illinois. My friend Tom Carmick ran races, and like it was really interesting to watch him work with lawyers who wanted to be judges.
Right.
It's a little different than a regular political campaign. So you know both Schakowsky's race as a congresswoman.
Right.
That's a lot of experience.
It is. Well, and also I lived in the 50th Ward.
Okay.
And so I was helping Deborah Silverstein.
Sure.
When she had that runoff election.
In the aldermanic race. Okay.
Yes. And so I made sure to help her, and she won. And so she's been the alderperson for 50 ever since.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So now, how long has it been since you started getting involved with politics in McHenry County? Like, did you kind of go in and like, well, I need to get involved here too? Was it right when you moved out here?
No, I needed some time to regroup and get my feel of the land. And then I reached out to a friend of mine who was very involved in McHenry County politics, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Get me hooked up.
Okay. You're like,
and so
throw me in, coach. All right.
Right.
I love that. And is this your first race that you've run?
That's
wow.
my first time.
What was that like?
It's a little unnerving.
Okay.
Like, I'm used to doing this for other people.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, I need to ask for help.
Yes.
Like, I can't do this all myself.
It's also like running a business, isn't it?
Yes.
That's something I want to tell I ran for state rep.
Okay.
So what I want to tell people is like sometimes you think, well, because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or you don't have enough time, unfortunately. You are running a business and you have to hit the ground running because you have a short ramp, right?
Right.
So asking for help is really important. Right? Is she good at asking for help? Excellent. That's good to know. Yeah, you gotta ask for help.
A little bit. That started.
Well, they want you to do your best too.
Right.
And don't let that be a lot of pressure for you, by the way. You are running your race. It's like swimming.
Right.
Swim in your own lane. Right. What everybody else is doing is none of your business.
For sure.
So how do you connect with voters? What are those conversations like?
Well, it's interesting because District 6 is heavily Republican.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so, I've had to kind of tamper down some of my political rhetoric because you know what? I really am representing everybody.
Yeah. If you win, you represent them all.
Right. So everybody's concerned about taxes. Everybody's concerned about being able to take care of their families. They're, being able to get food on the table, to afford, gasoline. And one of the things that I love about McHenry County is I'm a big fan of farmers, because some of my favorite farmers are in Harvard, which is not in my district, but I'm like, oh my God, I love this, and I'm seeing that there are a lot of farmland now that's for sale.
Yeah.
Right? That farmers are losing their land, and it breaks my heart.
Right, because, this is something that's happening all over the country where the cost of whether it's maintaining, even just their equipment.
Right.
Because they want the right to repair is something we've heard a lot about, but also the cost of whether it's the tariffs that's having an impact, the cost of any of their supplies.
Right.
And I'm worried for our farmers. Like you said, I want everyone to do well. I'm not fighting for just the Democrats. I'm fighting for everybody.
For sure, and I can't take credit for this, but I heard this saying that says, no farmers, no food.
Yep.
And I'm like, I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really the bottom line. When I know where it is, right there. We're outside, and there are gnats crawling on us. I had them earlier. So at an event like this at McHenry County Fair, it is a reminder that we do, like you mentioned, we live in a rural. You live in a rural area,
right?
And with a lot of development,
right?
What are the things in addition to taxes that is resonating with folks that you talk to?
Well, I think, people want to make sure that, again, the tax base, that there's fair assessment. And then, so there's different camps about being okay with lots of development. But I want to make sure that we're looking at the resources first. Like, we're not building at the expense of people. Right? Like, did we do our due diligence making sure there isn't going to be flooding, or that, there's going to be enough schools, or, so did we check the resources first before we're starting to build? So it's a lot of the sustainability.
Sure.
We can have that and have both.
And when you go out to, when you have events, and here's the thing that I talk to everybody about, people don't generally know what a district board even does. So this is part of education for everybody, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm learning as I go.
Okay.
So I know that roads and schools and like I said, farmland and taxing, and I know I need to learn more than that.
Well, it's funny. I was driving on whatever road got me here, and I'm just mostly like take a right here kind of person now with my GPS. But there were two. It was like something out of the Andy Griffith Show. There were two boys on a winding road with fishing poles. I'm like, what? 1960s TV series am I driving into in McHenry County? But also to your point about roads, like we want those kids to be able to be safe, like when they're walking, like for having to have drivers be mindful of their community. And people who are visiting here too, don't you think?
For sure. Well, and one of the other main things is, I talked about my mom, and unfortunately she had a medical crisis, and so elderly or senior care is very important to me, and also caregivers, family caregivers. Like, we need to make sure to support our seniors and the families who are taking care of them.
Well, that's a crisis globally. I mean, in part because the majority of the people who provide that care are women, many of them women of color. And women in general. Right. And so there's sort of a devaluation of that, and that's happening everywhere. And I think you're absolutely right. And I think that the more that we live longer, the more we're going to need to be able to support folks to be able to stay in their homes, to have someone who can care for them. What are some of the things you're hearing from folks in that regard? They're experiencing the same, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, it's funny in my district. Immediately near me, we tend to be an older population.
Okay.
And so, the senior care, not insurance, but making sure that people are getting supported and they have the resources that they need.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing that as well.
Well, I'm sure that you'd be very proactive in making sure they have access to those resources and know about them. Communicating is even a big part of that.
For sure.
Well, you are my last guest for the fair. So before we go, tell folks in 30 seconds or so why you are the best candidate to be the next McHenry County Board District 6 member.
Well, I am the best candidate because in my life I have been laid off, downsized, reorged many times. And so I've learned to be very fiscally responsible so that I never was homeless. And the current board, which is run by mostly Republicans, have been very irresponsible financially.
Excellent.
So fiscal responsibility is a main tenet.
Find out more. Folks can find out more about Cheryl Lindenbaum by visiting Cheryl Lindenbaum, citizensforcheryl.com. That's citizensforcheryl.com. Thank you to everybody at the McHenry County Fair. Next level bull riding rodeo tonight. Tractor and truck pulls tomorrow. Demolition derby on Sunday with after parties this weekend. Lots of free events, livestock shows, carnival rides, incredible fair food, exhibits, music, and so much more. And go give the pro-lifers a little bit of the pro-birthers a little bit of you know what I mean. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to Matt Cummings, to Logan, to Steve Lessman, to Paul Shavari, Lady B back at the station, of course. Love you all. Talk to you all on Monday. Be well. Have a great weekend. Bye.